Hi, I'm Zach, and I'm unusual. It's not that I try to be unusual, it's literally just I don't see the point in conforming. As a result, people have a tendency to pay attention to me. Um, And as a result of that, I have by default become a communicator. People always look to me to know what to say, sometimes what to do. Both of these are things you shouldn't trust me with, but that's just the case. I tried being a technical student for a while with information technology, but I actually washed out of that, and now I know for a fact I am doomed to be a communicator. When it comes to my communication style overall, I have a tendency to favor things that I get to use my personality in. The reason being is because I have a tendency to speak fairly clearly, and people think sometimes that I've written my statements ahead of time, and that just isn't true. Um, Something that I've tried to push, especially with this class, is finding ways to make that useful. I usually just try to lend my sense of humor, but I think that my critical thinking skills, along with my force of personality, might be able to create something good or at least interesting. And so that's what I'm trying to do here. And maybe it sounds like I'm copping out, but hey, you know, do what you're good at. So let's talk about six of my OCs. Okay, the first one you've actually already seen, and that is my Christmas wrapping paper demonstration, which is part of a Facebook group, which is there's my knife, which is designed to help people create an online exchange. I haven't done anything with this yet, honestly, because moderating that on top of everything that I have to do sounds like a bit of a headache. So currently, no one can join. Very sorry about that. But I am very proud of this one in particular because, despite the introduction that I had to this video, I did conform here. I looked at the styles that were popular and I decided, what would be the most accessible, what would have a good amount of reach, what would people be interested in seeing? And honestly, I had a lot of fun doing it. It's cliched, but um, maybe it's cliche for a reason. Now, this one was something that I was actually pretty nervous about. Not only because I wasn't sure if it technically met the criteria, because we're supposed to be, selling something on a live stream. And, Elder Scrolls 3 Morrowind is definitely something you can buy. But I didn't know if I was going to be able to be entertaining while promoting it. And I guess whether or not I am entertaining is kind of up to you. But I was surprised that I had so much to say about it. I can't remember what the over under was in terms of the number of minutes that we needed for this particular OC, but I I think that I went over and I didn't notice it. In fact, it was so simple to do for me because I love this game and it's easy to talk it up that I considered doing it a second time when we got that little extension. But then I thought better of it because I've got tremendous amounts of things to do. um, One thing that's difficult about this, and I definitely see as a learning experience moving forward, is look at my face. I look dismal. And so having some sort of discipline about how you're looking while you're trying to promote something, I'm sure that's part of the state of the art, and that's a learning process. It's one of the reasons that I'm not showing you my face right now. Don't want to have to worry about it. So the Jetpack is a place that is near and dear to my heart. It is the Clear Lake Community Theater, but they're a bunch of weirdos just like me. They're a community theater that put on Rocky Horror, if that gives you any indication. But I absolutely love working with Travis. And this, and Dr. Harris told us not to do this, but I definitely offered up these services for free. He's always been really helpful anytime that I needed. aid with any kind of artistic project. And so Travis and Heather, I'm just always in their pocket whenever they need it. And I think that's one of the great things about doing, social media production is that you do become this part of the community, sort of this de facto promotional arm, or at least you can if you're looking for it. But this was absolutely a blast to do. Heather and Travis are hysterical, and I don't know, going to that theater just kind of feels like going home. And if you can do that while creating something, all the better. This one was my drawing tutorial, and I loved doing every part of it. I loved doing every part of it, and you can hear me clapping even though you can't see me. I love doing every part of it because illustration is still definitely that thing that is my hobby. I am not good enough to make a living doing it. I'm not going out on a limb and asking anybody if they would like to commission my artwork for any reason. Um, and that's why it's so much fun to make videos about this stuff because this is literally my free time. This is me goofing off. And I love waxing technical about it. I love talking about the way you should do things because I am one who cannot do so. I teach at least in this capacity. I love talking about all the different names for art forms and techniques and stuff like that, and what you should and shouldn't be doing, and not being able to do any of it. Very much an armchair artist, and you know, this was a good opportunity to practice. This was a good opportunity to learn a few things, which I absolutely did, which is one of the great things about the research process when you're tackling something new that you really are passionate about is that you wind up learning along with the audience, or you're learning something specifically so that you can impart that into or onto the audience in such a way that you think will be valuable or at least unique. Also, I learned to use my easel, which, with all of my homework, I haven't actually had time to go back to my easel. But I'm looking forward to it over Christmas break. Now, we talked a little bit about the wrapping tutorial that I did for the Facebook group that hasn't become yet. Um, And this is something that I'm really proud of because I just think it's a good idea. And Dr. Harris agrees with me. He told me, I don't know if I was supposed to say that, but this is a online wrapping paper exchange. And the reason is, I hate buying new paper every year, but I never use it all up. I never have enough to actually, just use up an entire roll. And so I'm stuck with that, but I want new stuff every year. And I know that I'm not alone here. So let's just trade it. And this, I think, is a fairly constructive thing because I'm very fight the power, socialist kind of individual. And so, yeah, we should have these little swap meets instead of giving more money to the man. And I do think that that's a constructive thing. I think that's a far less wasteful thing. And I do think that it can be a bridge within communities. So yeah, I love this project and I'm proud I did it. This is by far the most embarrassing thing I did this year, and it was the first thing I did this year, so I guess it's good. Not only is that not a flattering shirt, but also I was tasked with creating social media posts. And I really showed my age here by thinking, oh, doofy broadcast commercial that you would see on NBC in 1997, because that's where my head is. And it's just bad. It's just not the assignment. I think Dr. Harris knew that we weren't going to be masters of the craft at the time. He didn't ask to be in my video. He just happened to be in the hallway. Uh, he knew we wouldn't be masters of the craft at the time, and that was evident here. And so I'm really glad that I got a passing grade on this one because if I've been grading myself on execution, I do not think, oh, there's Dr. Harris. I do not think that I would have been as forgiving. So, by this point, I have talked a lot about how this class has impacted me and how these different projects have affected my outlook on exactly how to engage an audience. I do feel that I've grown. And I know the video is getting a little long, but I would be remiss if I didn't talk a little bit about my portfolio, which I was actually a little resistant to at first. Not like I wasn't going to do my assignment, but now I really do see the benefits of having this all-in-one space that you can really show off all of your interests and talents and the things you do well, and you can present it in exactly the way you want. I have a brief background in HTML, so I would have preferred to have a little bit more control over some of these things. For example, why can't you choose the color? I'm doing it in Google. Either way. Um, so, I am a visual communications student. I'm in the communication program, but I do PR and graphic design and things like that. And I have a background, well, I've been trained in photography. And that is a lot of what I've put on this website is a lot of my past projects. Reason being, although I do have some of my OCs here, we'll get to them in a second, but uh, social media just isn't my medium, I guess is the way you would say that. I'm much more comfortable with traditional mediums, and so this is examples of my photography. This is light painting, which is a really interesting technique if you're not familiar with it. All this was done with a flashlight. um, but I love having control over this space, and definitely being more conscious of how I present myself in this digital space has been a big part of the growing process through this. Um, you can see Dr. Harris will note, I don't know who read my website previously, Dr. Harris will note that the readability should be a lot easier here now that I've spaced out my paragraphs and added indentions. I couldn't drop the Ralph Waldo Emerson quote, it's just too good. But also, you get this opportunity to just throw your art up wherever you want. I have spaces for my art, in particular. But this is my website, this is my space, and this is a reflection of me. And having that at your fingertips, if you were going to try to hire me, for example, I think is a powerful thing. Um, and so, yeah, two of the videos are OC, and then there is this third one here, and that is one that I made for Professor Brim's narrative video production, which is let me make sure that it doesn't make too much noise. Um, yeah, just a strange little short film about literally getting lost inside of a book and being transported to the creek right next to the school. But having all this multimedia here, having the ability to showcase exactly what you can do and everything that you can do, on this website. I also have my publication design projects that I'm proud of, and some of my graphic design, a little bit more of my photography and photo editing. Um, and this really is something that I'm looking forward to spending a lot more time on so that I can get this looking exactly the way I want it to, probably by editing the program itself. But as it is right now, I'm really happy that we were put in a position where we were pushed to make something like this because I probably wouldn't have done it on my own. And as I said, I'm happy with it. And really, that is the end of my journey. That is me explaining, what I loved about being in this class and what I loved about working on the projects and how I learned and hopefully grew and very bald-faced admission of what I need to improve upon. Um, and I am really looking forward to that journey. And I can't wait to see what you all create as well. And until next time, I'm Zach Jernigan. Bye bye.